Yep. Top of the day, beautiful people. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. It is March the 14th, 2022, day number 55 of year 4 of reading through the books of the Law and the Prophets. Another 4-year consecutive day count. Day 1072. I'm sorry, 1073. Today, y'all, we're going to read tablet M.1 or M-1. Why didn't I put this right here? Oh, that's why. M. Oh. Okay, yeah, tablet M-1. And we'll see how far we get with one because it's 9 separate tablets within the M tablet, right? Okay. And after that, we'll start, depending on what time we finish with that, we'll start chapter 28 in my bit too. All right, beautiful people. Let's get started. Mama. Shalom. Auntie. Shalom. Facebook. Shalom. All right, y'all. All right. Father, lead us and guide us into all truth. All right, beautiful people. Tablet M.1 through 9. Book of Maklu and the Maklu ritual. Maklu is spelled Maqlu. All right. And it has this opening before it, remember all of the tablets have a little opening blurb before they get to it. And so for Maklu, it has reference 69 right at the beginning. And 69 says Maklu, Maklu, spelling used in the Simonian Necronomicon, whereas other scholarly texts transliterate the word as Maklu, Maqlu, meaning essentially burning man. Okay, so Book of Maklu is the book of the burning man. That might be in our title day. It just might. Shayla, hey girl, hey, great rising, Betwabu. All right, y'all. The Maklu series of 9 Babylonian tablets illustrates an extended ritual or combination of incantations by which the priest calls on the powers of Annunaki chief gods, Anu, Enki, Enlil, and Marduk, especially Enki and Marduk, to curse, banish, or exorcise all of the evildoers and wickedness of society in an elaborate ceremonial effort. And then it has a reference 70. Reference 70 says, see also Maklu Magic Liber M by Joshua Free and Kim Jurgen for extensive background information. Okay. The word Maklu means burnings and is indicative of the type of witch burnings envisioned from the Middle Ages. Ceremonial burnings and metamorphic effigy are performed with waxen dolls, and it has reference 71 for waxen dolls, and it says waxen dolls or another appropriate material substance indicated on the 9th tablet. Okay, let me read that over again since that was like towards the end of the sentence. The word Maklu means burnings and is indicative of the type of witch burnings envisioned from the Middle Ages. Ceremonial burnings and metamorphic effigy are performed with waxen dolls made in the image of your enemy. It sound like voodoo dolls, right? But they made these of wax. The ritual is sometimes called the rites of burnt offerings because souls of evildoers are destroyed or sacrificed for the benefit of the world. Modern revival practitioners of Neo Babylonian magical tradition have indeed found varying degrees of success using popular translations of these exorcism tablets. Executing the Maklu ritual requires full focus and attention of the priest, perhaps in excess of a day, as some records indicate a full 2 day observation. All of the traditional ritual elements, watchtowers, and stargates are observed before speaking the numerous incantations of the ritual while performing various ceremonial actions. For example, an image of the enemy may be cursed over a flame and then melted into a cauldron. The Maklu ritual is practically an astral ceremony in which the practitioner will climb the ladder of lights and appeal to the gods for protection and for the destruction of the enemy and all evildoers and wicked witches and warlocks of the world. The ceremony enacts as a chain curse protected out to extend far and beyond the immediate environment of religious priests as a public service meant to purge the realm. Two critical periods occur annually when the Maklu ritual made a more public ceremonial appearance in Babylon: April 30th, May's Eve, and October 31st, All Hallows Eve. During these periods, for the potential for evil and the return of the ancient ones through the gate to the outside seems to be the greatest. It is usually April the 30th or Beltane, and Beltane is fires of Bel, when the great bear hangs its tail in the sky in the dark of night, that the gate can be opened most easily from our side by the evil worshippers of the ancient ones. Kind of sound like a little bit what CERN be doing. Auntie, good morning, Anita. Okay, it kind of sound like a little bit what CERN be doing. Okay, hold on. It is usually April the 30th or Beltane, fires of Baal, when the great bear hangs its tail in the sky in the dark of night, that the gate can be opened most easily from our side by the evil worshippers of the ancient ones. The other significant energetic high tide appears on October 31st, the equivalent of Samhain or Halloween, when the gate can be best accessed from the outside. It may also have been performed during equinoxes and eclipses. It is an overnight 2 day ceremony. Grand Rising, Uncle JB. And here's the editor's note. Original editions of the Necronomicon Anunnaki Bible, the Necronomicon and Anunnaki Bible only featured the phonetic Akkadian version of the Maklu. As of the revised 5th edition of this anthology, an English translation is included here, as adapted from the later Year 3 work of the Mardukite Chamberlains. And then it has a reference 72 for Mardukite Chamberlains, which is Liber M, originally released in 2001 as Maklu Magic or the Necronomicon Spellbook 2 by Joshua Free and Kim Jurgen. Kim is Khem, just in case you were looking for it. Also available in the Year 3 Liber E plus M plus C anthology, Necronomicon Grim War, edited by Joshua Free. Okay. Okay, so it has this. I'm gonna just read this in English. I ain't gonna do the although it's here. I ain't gonna read this foreign language. I'm gonna just read it in English, y'all. Okay. So just know it's here above the English translation of this. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna just read the English. And for the first line, it has reference 73 at the end of Musiti, which is gods of night. And reference 73 is general key. En is indicative of incantation. Su-in or tu-in, generally translated as incantation formula. They mainly serve to divide the separate incantations found within the greater text of the Maklu. To avoid the unnecessary, the terms described will not be repeated throughout the body of the translation. Translation KJ. Okay. All right, so I'm just reading English. There is another language in here, but I'm not going to read that. I read it last time, but I think I'm going to just read it because this is so long. Okay. I call upon you, gods of night. With you, I call upon the night, the veiled lady. I call at twilight, midnight, and dawn, because the sorcerer has enchanted me. A sorceress has spoken against me, causing my god and goddess to distance from me. I am a pathetic sight to behold. I am unable to rest day or night, and a gag has filled my mouth. Food has been kept from my mouth. The water ceases to enter my throat. My praise is lament, and my rejoice is sorrow. Stand by my side, great gods. Give me notice. Be a judge in my case. Grant me a decision. I formed an image of my sorcerer and sorceress, of my enchanter and enchantress. I have laid them in fire and await your judgment, because they have conjured evil against me. May they die that I can live. The evil magic, the evil spell must be broken. The tamarisk purifies me. The date palm, catching all the wind, frees me. The mascatal shines through me, filling the earth. In front of you, I have become light as grass. I am shining and pure like grass. The spell of the sorceress is baneful. Let her words fall in her mouth, tongue tied. Let the gods of night overcome her spell. Let the three watchers overcome the evil spell. Let her words be dust and tongue turned to salt, which spoke the baneful formula come to dust. The magic, let it dissolve like salt. The knots are undone, her efforts are destroyed. All her words fill the void by the covenant that the gods of night decreed. Earth, earth, ye spirit of earth, Gilgamesh is the Lord of your course. What has befallen you, I know. What has befallen me, you know not yet. What the sorceress has let loose on me, no one can undo. It has no undoer. My city is Zaban. My city is Zaban. My city of Zaban has two gates. The first is on the east, the second on the west. One is for the sunrise, one is for the sunset. I am lifting to you my seed, Mascatal. To the sky gods I bring water, as do I come to purify you, so come forth to purify me. I have barred up the river crossing and harbor. I hold back the magic of all lands. Anu and Antu have sent me here, but whom should I send to Belit Seri, in the mouth of the evil warlock and witch Gag? By the incantation of the magician god Marduk, they call upon you, but do not answer them. They will come before you, but do not listen to them. Only should I call to you, should you answer me. Should I come before you, you should listen to me. And to the covenant that Anu, Antu, and Belit Sari have issued. Where I am sent, I go. When ordered, I speak. Against the evil sorcerer and sorceress, Asulihai, Marduk, Lord of the incantation, has sent me. Take note of what is in the sky and on the earth. Take note of what is in the river and the word spoken on land. Wind, carrier of lightning, strike it down. The stick image is now broken. Break it. Let them stand waiting at the gateway to the gods until I speak the word to my evil sorcerer and wicked witch. The lamb will be freed. The sheep will be freed. Their words may be loosened, but my word will not be. The word that I speak, their words cannot withstand it. By the covenant of the Lord of the incantations, Nusku, these images are of my evil sorcerer. These images are of my wicked sorceress. These images are of my warlock and witch. These images are of my enchantress. These images are of my stupefier. These images are of my bewitchment. These images are of my lord and lady opponent. These images are of my lord and lady enemy. These images are of my lord and lady prosecutor. These images are of my lord and lady accuser. These images are of my lord and lady slanderer. These images are of my lord and lady defector. These images are of my lord and lady nemesis. These images are of my lord and lady evildoer. Noose Ku, only you know them. I do not know them. Their trick, their magic, their evil spells, sorceries, manipulations, evil words, love, hate, lying, murdering, confounding the truth of words, untrusting, quick to anger, lacking wisdom, everything that they have drawn to them. These are those things. These are their images. Because the images cannot stand up, I lift them toward you. Nusku and Anu, you who captures enemies, capture mine before I am destroyed. Kind of sound like a prayer of a believer, right? Praying against those working evilness or wicked against you, right? Because he's calling out all the wicked things that's being done to him and those wicked people who are doing it, right? Nusku and Anu, you who captures enemies, catch mine before I am destroyed. Matter of fact, that's the going theme throughout all of this that I've seen, right? Okay. Those others that make my images and mimic my form, they attack my face, they tie up my neck, they hit my chest, they bend up my back. They make my arms weak and remove my strength. They make the Spirit of the Lord angry with me and remove my strength. They strip the strength from my arms, and my knees are plagued with pain. They cause me to faint. They cause me to eat accursed food. They cause me to drink foul water. They have purified me with unclean water. They have washed me in juice of unclean seeds. They have mocked me as though I am dead. They have placed my spirit among the dead. They have made my God, King, and Master angry with me. Gira, fires of God, who burns the evil warlock and witch, who slays the evil offspring of the warlock and witch, who slays the evildoers. It is you. I call upon you like Samas or Shamash and Anu, make me right, be the judge of my decision. Burn the evil sorcerer and sorceress. Be the eater of my enemies. Consume all those who wish me evil. May they catch your roaring flames. May their lives end like sewage. May their fingers be wrecked like those of stonemasons chewed off. Whew. By the name of the glorious command and your everlasting covenant. Nusku, mighty offspring of Anu, true image of your father, firstborn of Enlil, son of the abyss, son of the Lord of heaven, earth. I lift the torch and illuminate you. The wicked sorcerer who has cursed me, curse him with the spell he used on me. The wicked witch who has cursed me, curse her with the spell she used on me. Christians do that? Yo, I know them casting out spells and returning the curse to its sender. I know all them. The wicked witch who has cursed me, curse her with the spell she used on me. The sorcerer who has ensnared me, ensnare him with the spell he used on me. The sorceress who has ensnared me, ensnare her with the spell she used on me. So if y'all go find, y'all can go Googling or looking up some things that have PDF, but go look up deliverance ministry, right? If you look up deliverance ministry and you look up some of the deliverance prayer books or casting out demons books, it's going to sound a lot like this because they're doing the same thing, right? They just change the name of what they call themselves, right? And the God they call on, but in those prayers, some of them you will see they're not just calling on Yah or a God, but they're also calling on the angels, which is likened to this, right? Okay. They asking everybody for help. And great Michael, stand up and defend you. like all those things. Like seriously, get called on. Michael and Gabriel is the two most famous ones, right? Then you got Raphael. Then if you know some of the other angels' names, you calling on them too, right? It's the same. Everybody doing the same thing, right? Okay. The sorcerer who has ensnared me, ensnare him with the spell he used on me. The sorceress who has ensnared me, ensnare her with the spell she used on me. The enchantress who bewitched me, now bewitch her with the spell she used on me. Who made images in my images and mimicked my shape. They drained my saliva. They ripped at my hair. They cut hems from my robe and staked the earth where my foot falls. Gera, fires of God, undo their incantation. I raise up the torch that I may burn the figures of the daemon, the spirit, the lurking ghost, and the lamatsu, the labasu, and the ahazu, the ilu, the lilitu, and the nightmare, and any evil that plagues humanity, dissolve, melt, and drip away like wax. May your smoke drift ever upwards, and may the sun extinguish your coals. May he extinguish your enemies by the son of Enki, who is Marduk, master of magicians. The first line of the next tablet in the series is, hold on. Okay, so the last one they don't translate. It says, in in Nusku Sir Buu Malik Ilamis Ramu times. And under that it says the first line of the next tablet in the series. And then it says 145 Tapu one Cam Maklu. Here ends tablet 1 of the Maklu. And so now we're about to start tablet 2. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to just read the English translation of all this. Nusku, might counselor of the great gods, overseer of the sacrifices of all EGG. And I'm not reading it because I think I'm gonna speak a curse or something to myself. Clearly, it's not a curse, it's a prayer. It's a prayer for help. But I think it's just gonna take too long. I think it's gonna take extremely long. And I don't mind it, but it's going to flow better. If you got the book, you can see it. But I'm just reading it this way because it'll flow better. Okay. Nusku, might counselor of the great gods, overseer of the sacrifices of all Ijiji, founder of cities, who reviews the seats of gods, brilliant shining day, the promise of all goodness, messenger of Anu, obeying the secret of Enlil, commander Enlil, counselor of the Ijiji, powerful in combat, whose rising is powerful, Nusku, brilliant shining one who blinds his enemies. Without you, there is no meal in the Ikur. Without you, the gods do not rise to smell the incense. Without you, Samaz does not hold his court. Whoever remembers your name, you deliver him from difficulty, sparing his miseries. I am your servant. Then it has blank. It's where you would say your name. I am your servant, son of whoever your father, mother is, whose God is name, whose goddess is, and you name them. I turn to you, seek you out, hands raised, I throw myself at your feet. Burn the evil warlock and the wicked witch. My warlock and witch, may they lose their life quickly. Spare my life so I will be forever in your debt, alive to praise your greatness all my days. Then it goes into it says spells to dissolve magic with the help of salt images. And it has reference 74 for that. And it says section headings for incantations and rites are preserved in some instances. It is also apparent that the ninth tablet was meant to be used as a ritual key throughout. Okay, so that was like the little heading before this next one. And I read it again. It says, spells to dissolve magic with the help of salt images. Gera, you are powerful. Gera, you are powerful is the meaning of your name. Nana, Your eyes see all things. Your light brightens dark places. Light of the moon over all countries. Your light brightens all things, so I stand before you because you restore divine justice. Like Nana Sin and Samas, you make things right. So restore the right in my life and be judge of my decision. To your brilliant shining light, I come. To the brilliant shining torch, I come. Lord, I grab at the hem of your robe, the hem of your divine robe I am grabbing. She attacks the heart, the head, the neck, and the face. She attacks my watchful eyes, attacks my walking feet, attacks my moving knees, joints, attacks my strengthened arms. Now I come before your divine greatness. I set before you the crossed copper images of my evil warlock and wicked witch, my sorcerer and sorceress, my stupefier and stupefieress, my enchanter and enchantress, my lord and lady who opposes me, my lord and lady who is my enemy, my Lord and Lady who persecutes me, my Lord and Lady who accuses me. Clearly, all those that is running up against him. He's calling them my sorcerer, my sorceress, and all these other titles he's giving to those who are causing him or her trouble. My Lord and Lady who accuses me, my Lord and Lady who slanders against me, my Lord and Lady defector, my Lord and Lady nemesis, my Lord and Lady evildoers. They gave me over to the dead. They bound me in their ridicule to the evil Utuku or evil Alu or Etimu, the evil Galu or evil god Ilu or Rabizu, the evil Lamatsu or Labasu or Ahazu, the evil Lilu or Lilitu or Ardat Lili, or evil fever like the Sibit Sadi disease, or befalling with epilepsy and seizures, or Anatasuba, or the evil god, or hand of God, or hand of goddess, or hand of the spirit of the dead, or of Utuki, or hand of a human, or Lamatsu, Anna's daughter, or Gulaza, the keeper, the record keeper of debts, or the roasting of flesh, paralysis, consumption, or everything bad that is without names. Trina, hey girl, hey. Or anything that is baneful to humans, that which makes me a prisoner at night, that which chases me during the day, that which eats my flesh, seizes my body, which will not give me rest for a single night. Now I come before your divine greatness. I burn and incinerate them completely with sulfur. Look favorably on me, tear them out of my body, disintegrate their evil spell. Gira, fires of God, be at my side. Keep me alive that I may praise, adore, and serve. And so the next one is separated, and the little heading says, here continues incantations to undo a spell with a copper image and sulfur. Gira, fires of God, born of Anu, who guides my hearing and judges my decision. You bring the darkness to light. You bring order to the chaos. You bring order to the chaos or destroyed. To the great gods, you grant resolutions. But for you, no God makes your decisions. It is for you to give order and directions. You alone bind the evil and evildoer. You strike down the evil enemy with swiftness. I am, state your name, a son of his God, whose God is, and you state your God's name, and whose goddess is, and you state your goddess's name. I am bewitched. This is why I have come to you. Before God and King, I have turned toward you. Unpleasant to behold, I throw myself before you. Gira, radiant fires of God. I come before your divine greatness. I have made two images of the evil warlock and wicked witch in copper by your hand. In front of you, I have crossed them, and I give them over to you. Cause them death that I may live. Their paths detract, but I go straight. They reach limits, but I continue to grow. They become weak, but I continue to be strong. Gira, brilliant flame among the gods. You seize the evil and evildoer, seize them so I may not be destroyed. I, your servant, remain living safe, able to stand in front of you. You are my God, my Lord supreme. You are my judge, my divine assistance. You are my avenger. Avenge me. The next section is an incantation to remove a spell by using a bronze image. Gira, fires of God, born of Anu, straightforward among your brethren, like Nana Sin and Samas, you make things right. Grant me justice, be the judge of my decision. Burn the evil warlock and wicked witch. Gira, burn the warlock and witch. Gira, boil the warlock and witch. Gira, incinerate them to nothing. Gira, boil them down. Gira, seize them. Gira, devour them. Gira, remove them. They who inflict evil and the baneful spell, who think upon me with evil intention, let a criminal steal their possessions. Let a thief make off with their property. Let a burglar invade their home. Gira, wrathful, perfect, and all powerful. In Iker, when you return, you will find peace. By the incantation of Inki, your progenitor, and of Samas, I have become radiant. May the seven Apkalu of Iridu look on to them with evil intention. Francis, good morning, sis. The next one is an incantation to remove a spell with the doe image. Tiffany, hey girl, hey. Gira, commanding force of terrible weather. You lead the gods and the peoples rightfully. You lead the trials of the oppressed peoples. Be also present at my trial, like Samas. Lead my trial and be judge of my decision. Burn the evil warlock and wicked witch. Devour my enemies, those who wish me evil. May they be caught up in your terrible weather. The next section, it says an incantation to reverse a spell with a bronze image. Gira, remember Gira, when you hear him call Gira, Gira is not like this other person, it's the fires of God, right? Just like we call on Yah and we may call him by his attribute, Gira is the fires of God. When you see burn the wicked witch, burn the people that's coming up against me, they won't leave me alone, get them, right? This is all this is. Gira, fires of God, born of Anu, radiant ray of the great Salas, divine, ever renewing, constant words of the word of the gods, who distributes the offerings to the gods, and it has in brackets for gods, EGG, who gives radiance to the Annunaki, the great gods, raging Gira, who destroys the pathway, Gira, strength to destroy wood and stone, who burns the evil seed of the warlock and witch, who incinerates the wicked seed of the warlock and witch. Come to my trial this day, come raging. Maker of submission, who seizes all that is evil, like these figures drip away, melting and dissolving away. May the evil warlock and witch drip away, melt and dissolve. The next one is an incantation to reverse a spell using an asphalt image. Okay, so some of this is translated just like it is. Okay, so Kes leaps kids, Arabis Nadris, who carries a torch and rides on the wind, Lirun Hunti, Kasayasu Izanun, rain down upon them from the heavens. Like a snake, bring them in, go hither. By the incantation of Enki and Marduk, master of magicians, rain down, you of Ninahakudu. May they destroy the evil in existence. The next one is an incantation to deflect a spell using an image doll. Okay, we're gonna have to hold on. Okay, we'll pause at the end of tablet 2 because we already like the 30-minute mark. Okay. An incantation to deflect a spell using an image doll. They have performed magic like a ball of wool. They have tried to roll me. Like a bird clapper, they have tried to catch me. Like a mason stone, they have tried to destroy me. Like a net, they have tried to ensnare me. Like a candle wick, they have tried to snuff me out. Like a cliff wall, they have tried to climb over me. With unclean waters, they have tried to fill me. Like garbage, they have tried to discard me. I speak the incantation of Marduk, Lord of the night. Marduk, Asariladu, the master of magicians, the evil sorcerer and sorceress. Like a ball of wool, I will roll them. Like a bird clapper, I will take them down. Like a mason stone, I destroy them. Like a net, I ensnare them. Like a candlestick, I snuff them out. Like a cliff wall, I climb over them. With unclean waters, I fill them up. Like garbage, I discard them. May the image of the evil warlock and wicked witch be burnt to ash. The next one is an incantation to reverse a spell using a plaster image. What is your name, witch? That's going to be our title today. Jen! Hey, girl, hey. What is your name, witch? Who are you who made an image of me from river clay? Who burned my image in her dark house? Who has spilled my water over a grave? Who has stolen sprigs of my fruit trees? Who has cut seams of my robe? Who has gathered up the earth beneath my feet? I send to the harbor where you buy salt. I send to the beach where you gather clay. I send you a furnace for your operations with Gira, fires of God already lit. Gira, fires of God, constant light of the gods. Nana Sin and Samas and Larsa, Nergal waiting next to his people. And Nana Ishtar and Akkad next to her house. May they seize the seed of the evil warlock and wicked witch, no matter how numerous they may be. May they kill the witch that I may remain alive. I did not bewitch her, she bewitched me. I did not enchant her, she enchanted me. She believes in the spell she designed, but I put my trust in Gibble to be my judge. I'm sorry. Yeah, but I trust in Gibble to be my judge. Gira, burn her. Gira, incinerate her. Gira, strike her down. And remember, Gira is fires of God. The next section, I think this is the last section in this tablet 2 of this second tablet in M. Okay. An incantation using a clay image dusted in talcum. What is your name, witch? I just like how that starts. What is your name, witch? Who unceasingly pays me visits? Who looks for me with baneful intentions? Who looks for me with malicious intent? I don't know your city, your house, or your name. May the Sidhu or the spirits visit you. May the Utuku demons seek you out. May the ghosts of the dead haunt you. May epilepsy seize you. May the evil seat decapitate you. Okay, then it has right here, it says, I guess as they was translating, it's a portion in here that says unreadable text, unreadable text. Gibble, furious without pity, smite thee. Gulu, mighty physician, strike thee down. Gibbil, furious, consume and burn your body. Pure daughter of the sky god Anu, who spreads herself in the divine vessel, bound with the here, and it says the here, bound with the here of Gibble, mighty hero. Then it says unreadable text, unreadable text, unreadable text. Incinerate quickly my evil warlock and wicked witch. Uproot their existence. Allow me to live so that I may praise, honor, and adore your name. And this last little section in the tablet 2 of this second tablet of the M tablet, an incantation to reverse a spell using a wooden image. And it says, this is not even translated. Oh, no, I'm sorry. No. Okay. Here, okay. So it says here ends the second tablet, but it has this is weird. It's starting the third tablet with the title an incantation to reverse a spell using a wooden image, but it gives this line. It says the first line of the next tablet in the series. Then it says here ends the second tablet of the Maklu, but then it starts the tablet 3. Oh, that's kind of confusing. Okay. Okay, so it says the first line of the next tablet in the series, which is in Kasapu Muta Litam Sa Suka Times, Tuppa Tukam Maklu. Here ends the second tablet of the Maklu. And it starts tablet 3, but we're going to pause right here. We'll read this tomorrow. This is good. All of this is good. Okay. I got to go through them. I had to number this because they number this in Roman numerals, and y'all know how I am about Roman numerals. All right, y'all. Okay, so we'll pause right here. Definitely sounds like words of the deliverance ministry, right? Those that are familiar with the deliverance ministry, whoever any of you who ever spent any kind of time in any kind of deliverance ministry or church that does deliverance a lot, casting out devils and demons and stuff, they use a lot of that. Okay. What is similar to that? Okay, so chapter 28 of My Big Toe, the title is The Evolution of AO, the Birth of the Big Computer. And this is really short, so we should probably be ending at our hour mark today because it's only 2, 4, 5.5 pages. Okay, meet AO, a gazillion reality cells, more or less randomly changing state, oscillating, appearing, and disappearing. These eventually evolve into patterns and groups of patterns as awareness and complexity increase. Some patterns are more interesting and profitable than others. Recall that higher levels of organization yeah. Ma, do me a favor, tell her to text me. Tell her to text me because I'm live. She probably called me about something for the job. Okay. Some patterns are more interesting and profitable than others. Recall that higher levels of organization leading to lower average entropy define self improvement within a consciousness system. The fundamental process and interaction with consciousness produces an evolutionary pressure that pushes all consciousness entities towards self improvement. The concept of an entity organizing itself into a more profitable ensemble of patterns and patterns of patterns returns to us an earlier discussion of how and why life forms diversify and specialize. Bacteria, guppies, alligators, kangaroos, people, arms, eyes, legs, breasts, brains, electric automobiles, the internet, and representative government are just a few examples of the advanced biological world organizing itself into more profitable ensembles of patterns and patterns of patterns. If somewhere within the far reaches of your intuition, the phrase patterns of patterns suggests some sort of undefined fractal process as the ultimate creator of complex structure, you are on the right track. Hang on, we'll get there eventually. Some patterns might indicate a subsequent or a preceding pattern or defined pattern interaction. Rules are themselves none other than knowledge based or experience based patterns for the reliable definition, repetition, and interaction of other patterns. Rules defining the formation of patterns, as well as pattern interaction and relationship, would evolve naturally from the evolutionary pressure of self improvement. With the concept of rules to come, the concepts of control and hierarchy. For instance, binary patterns of ones and zeros, on and off, or for AO, uniform and non uniform, can be used to do arithmetic, store information, and move data around between groups of cells. Simple binary patterns and the rules instruction set defining relatively few operations have evolved into today's computer technology. Unquestionably, it is the patterns of patterns, and the rule sets that evolve to define, regulate, and order them that constitute the basic ingredients of almost everything we directly experience. For just one example, imagine a human's brain, imagine a human brain's pattern of cellular organization and its patterns of neuron and electromagnetic activity. For other examples, think of the city you live in, the economy in which you work, and the political and cultural patterns that order your life. Civilization is about ordered patterns defined by profitability and constraints. So is everything else, including consciousness. It may prove to be a useful concept to describe consciousness as made up of discrete fundamental units or quanta. Some minimum group of complex interactive reality cells would constitute a quantum of consciousness, given that given that groups of reality cells are at the heart and core of consciousness, and given that the simplest form of a reality cell is a binary unit, then logic dictates that computers have the theoretical potential to become conscious devices. After all, they are made up of basic binary units that are like the reality cells that lead to the development of consciousness, memory, and pattern processing within AO. Clearly, having a collection of binary cells is not enough. That these cells interrelate, use and share information or patterns of data, and modify themselves around some purpose or intent, regardless of how dimly perceived, is critical to the formation of consciousness quanta. AO could specialize in AO could specialize a small part of itself into gazillions of terabytes of memory because that would be an interesting and useful thing to do. Indeed, very useful. In the last chapter, we concluded that evolving consciousness may be constrained by accessible memory. Evolving a memory and processing hold on evolving a memory and processing section could lead AO to invent its own form of mathematics, which is nothing other than patterns of patterns, rules, operations, and relationships, a self-consistent system of logical process. This computational and memory function of AO represents the primordial big computer. The big computer, TBC, is an important metaphor used throughout this model of reality. The big computer's function and operation are described and discussed in more detail throughout the rest of My Big Toe, but especially in Section 4, all, and Section 5, specifically Chapter 6 and 11 of Book 3. The big computer is just that: memory, processing rules, operations, and content. It is not necessarily the big brain as we think of it in biological, discrete, physical organ terms. Did Sure call you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. Thanks, Ma. At this point, it is more of a memory intensive, computational based process that provides improved organization to a relatively dim cellular mind.
You call me.
Did I call you? No, I did not call
I
you.
thought you dialed my number.
No, I didn't
I got
dial
my
your number.
fireman outfit on.
Think of TBC,
I thought it
the
was a
big
fire
computer, as
I
a.
needed to put out over here.
Oh, I got some water to put that fire out right here.
I got my whole hose.
Think of TBC. Remember, TBC is the big computer. Think of TBC as a digital computational functionality based upon discrete reality cells that naturally evolved. What? What'd you say?
I thought you was hot. You need some fire.
Oh,
You need some
come
water
on,
to
have
push
mercy.
you out because you are hot.
Think of TBC as a digital computational functionality based upon discrete reality cells that naturally evolve and improve organization and thus reduce entropy within the energy we within the energy form we call Ayo. Grand rising prayer, mama for shalom, say shalom. Ayo itself now represents a form of digital consciousness based upon reality cells. Ayo is able to reduce its entropy and brighten its awareness because it evolved gazillions of self-differentiated reality cells that eventually became organized into patterns of patterns, rules, and ordered processes, all maintained, tracked, and controlled by evolving groups of interactive binary memory cells whose actions and interactions are coordinated to facilitate a more highly organized and profitable system. Boy, that was a long sentence. Hold on. Okay. My voice getting crackly. Content sharing and intention manipulation evolves on the heels of digital logic, thus adding direction and purpose to the process. Purpose differentiates success from failure and provides the necessary rationale and direction to achieve lower entropy configurations that appear as system self improvements. Think of the big computer as a special purpose digital processor and memory subset of a much larger digital consciousness. AO is evolving specialized groups of cells in the same way and for the same reason that biology based physical critters did. The same fundamental process is universally applied to all interactive or intraactive systems complex enough to be capable of profitable self induced change. And in parentheses, he has growth. Nevertheless, the results of applying that simple process differ widely according to the capabilities and constraints that define each system, just like us, right? How fast we grow or how fast we don't grow depends on our own mental capacity and what we already understand, right? I know it's a bunch of words and starting to get lost, possibly, right? But as relating to us, all of us are considered like different processing systems, right? This is the processing system of Pam. This is the processing system of James. Or this is the processing system of Francis or Jen, right? We're all different processing systems, and how we develop, or all those long scientific words represent growth. How we grow depends on what we already have within our environment, through our environment, past experiences. That's going to determine the output we give, right? And how fast and efficiently or inefficiently we grow. Okay. That's the kind of sum of everything he's saying. A system's a system's capability is intrinsic to the nature of the system, while its constraints are defined by its internal and external environments, right? Also add in belief systems that could hinder you or what could help you, right? You got a whole different mix, different pot of magic going on inside of you than what everybody else has. And that's going to determine your output. Even if we're doing the same thing, we're gonna probably get different results depending on how much information you have or you don't have, that you didn't add it or have not added to what you're trying to get results to. Okay. Just as evolving, non-living, non-growing entities naturally move toward higher entropy, consciousness naturally moves towards lower entropy. Dimness gradually gives way to brightness as entropy is lowered. I'll read that again. Dimness gradually gives way to brightness as entropy is lower. And remember, entropy, um, having low entropy, meaning you're more fluid, right? You're like water. You can flow Anywhere there's an opening, meaning you have points of least resistance than anybody else does. Oh, great spirit, shalom. Oh, great one, let us bring our spirit into the oneness of you. Hallelujah. Right? So, as your entropy lowers, the dimness that you have gives way to the brightness. Like you have to lower your entropy in order to get more light so the dimness or the darkness can fade away. Let me read that again. Just as evolving, non living, non growing entities naturally move toward higher entropy, consciousness naturally moves toward lower entropy. You become more open, right? So more things can flow into you without running up a brick wall. A brick wall would be high entropy. Tearing down that brick wall is reducing that entropy that you have. So more information, the open mind, you can now receive more information to possibly adjust your belief thoughts. If not adjust, at least examine them, right? In light of the new information that you just now received. Okay. Just as evolving, non living, non growing entities naturally move toward higher entropy, consciousness naturally moves toward lower entropy. Dimness gradually gives way to brightness as entropy is lowered. The quality of consciousness also increases as entropy is decreased. We call this growth of quality spiritual growth. Just as external energy can sometimes drive non-living, non-growing entities to decrease their individual entropy for a time, they grow like sand into sandstone, minerals into crystals, decomposing biomass into fossil fuels, or the fusing of hydrogen into helium. Internal energy can sometimes drive consciousness to greater entropy and lower quality. More about this in the next section as we pit our favorite team, the rats, against the anti rats in the reality bowl. So, next is a little aside that he goes into to explain a little bit better what he was just talking about. Amanda, shalom, shalom, Tyler, hey, guys. Uncle Nathaniel, peaceful greetings. We now know almost enough to pull together a better understanding of the word dimension. We have said the larger reality is a multidimensional reality, and that PMR and NPMR, or physical matter reality and non physical matter reality. Remember, physical matter reality is this physical world, non physical matter reality is what we call the spirit realm or the astral world, right? We have said that the larger reality is a multidimensional reality and that PMR and NPMR represent two of those dimensions. But what does that mean? Let's begin with what we know. I have used the term three dimensional, or its abbreviation 3D, to characterize our physical matter reality, local reality. Some may be confused because they have been told that modern science uses a 4D space time to model physical matter reality. Indeed, space time, as the term is used within general relativity, is referred to as a 4D continuum, three space coordinates that are also functions of time, and one time coordinate that is also a function of the space coordinates. There is mathematical justification for calling space time four dimensional, but in the sense that I use the word dimension, mixing time with the position coordinates does not constitute a new dimension. Marche, you made it finally. Shalom. Although time, the technology and process AO will eventually construct for ordering events is fundamental to, to defining and creating the larger reality, it is not particularly helpful to think of time as an independent dimension. It is more descriptive. It is more descriptively accurate to say that we humans directly experience a 3D time ordered reality that appears to be the perception limited product of space, of a space-time universe requiring four coordinates to specify individual events relative to one's frame of reference, wherein each possible reference frame is as fundamentally proper as any other. Searching for a fourth and higher dimensions in terms of geometry is also not particularly helpful to the understanding of the larger reality. Reality is not fundamentally geometric. We think it must be geometric because our little picture view is centered in 3D geometric reality, and we naturally tend to expand upon what we know. Physical matter reality is geometrically constrained by the space time rule set. However, the space time rule set is only a local rule set and does not apply to the larger reality. This will become clear in section 4. What is this dimension thing? If it is not time and not geometric, what is left? Forget about all the sci fi and fantasy movies you've seen. The dimensionality of reality does not function as the screenwriters for Twilight Zone or X Files would have you believe. However, it is true that most realities simultaneously exist within their own dimension and as a subset of a larger reality, and that travel between dimensions is possible. Indeed, it is relatively easy once you know how. We will discuss the concept of dimension in more depth later. For now, I want to peek ahead just enough to give you some sense of the nature of dimension without confusing you too much in the process, because the larger reality and the subset of the larger reality that serves as our local reality are constructs of consciousness. We could say metaphorically that they exist in mind space or thought space. Connect this with the idea that fundamental consciousness in the form of AO is composed of reality cells, and that reality cells may be employed as binary cells, cells that are either in this state or that state. Binary cells like transistors in a microprocessor, or the ones and zeros on your favorite compact disc, are handy for creating memory, storing information, and supporting complex processing. Thus, mind space in the form of digital consciousness is beginning to look like a logical, rule based computational system, a generalized computer of some sort. And you might not necessarily understand that if you haven't already been studying it, but you would really understand it if you were going through the gateway process, right? And the whole hemisync thing that happens and how the left brain relates to the right brain. The left brain, we talked about it extensively while we're reading through the CIA documents, right?
I want you to keep this check. Once it processed and clear in the bank, I want you to keep this until it clear. Once it clear, you throw that away.
Well, this one's on my accounting records, but I get what you're saying.
Gotcha.
All right.
I don't have no receipt.
Oh, that's the one for those chairs.
Yeah, that's
This
for the
okay.
chairs, but I don't have I don't got no tear off of it.
Right, I got
42,
you. I got it.
if you want to label it in the account.
Okay. Okay. All right. Sorry, y'all. A little business housekeeping. Thus, minds. Oh, hold on, I was explaining. If you currently are going through the gateway process, I'm not sure how many of y'all are still actively going through it. I'm not sure that y'all could have made it to wave 6 by this time. Some of you may still be stuck in one. I know a couple people that are still stuck in wave 1. My son just started it, and he said when he did the second wave, he came down here because he did it like early, like 2 days ago. He came down. He said, first of all, how did they create something like this that automatically pops me out of my body? Like he was absolutely floored that he went through the process because he's a big meditator anyway, right? 18, he like to go sit out in the sun, sunbathe, let the sun hit his dreads, and he'll go over there to the school when school is out, sit up on the top bleacher, get as close to the sun as possible on sunny days, and he'll sit there nice and quiet. I'm like, well, I need the discipline this boy has. And he only been in this world 18 years. um but he said, oh, first of all, out of all my meditation days. And mind you, he's a dreamer too. And he, by listening to some of his dreams, I can tell that some of them are not dreams, but they're actually astral projection. But he wasn't actually ever able to decipher which was which until just day before yesterday when he was going through the actual gateway process, and he had only gotten to two, right? So it was crazy. And let me show this to you. Hold on, well, let me tell this to you. He said what's crazy, he said when I was waking up or thought I was woke, he said it was like I was waking up in levels. And the way he explained it, he said he no, what did he do? He did something. But when he explained what he did, it triggered what happened with me when I did it. He had, okay, so he came in there. So when I do it, or when I sleep sometime, I wear like this, the the little eye cover, right? The block out all the light. So he came in and got one of mine because he was doing it during the day and he wanted to block out all the light so he can just, meditate without any light coming through, even his eyelids. So if you got your eyes closed during the day, you can tell it's light outside, right? Because you can, the sun or whatever, you can tell. But if you cover it up, it gives you a little bit more depth of darkness. So he did that. I forget what it was he said he did, but he had to do it like 10 times to completely wake up. What in the world? And I wish he was down here. He said he he had to lift his hand like 10 times because as he was waking up, he got to the point to where he was counting to wake you up, right? And he said before he in it, he recognized, he said he's going to wake him up, but before he did it, he decided to wake himself up first. And I think he said he was lifting his hand, and he said, yeah, he said he like moved his finger, then he lifted his hand, right? But it was like he still wasn't completely woke, and he could still like see his body. And then he did it again, and he did it again. He said, but each time he did it, it's like he woke up more. So he saw himself going into his body and completely waking up. I said, that sounds very similar to like the second time when I astral projected, where I was doing it on purpose. I had on my sleeping mask over my eyes. And then it was one of those things where I'm going to wake myself up first, right? And so I had pulled my mask up and I thought I was woke, but I realized I wasn't completely woke yet. I was still in that sleep state. And so I did it again. And I lift up my mask off my eyes like 10 times until like the 10th time I was completely woke. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why did it take so long? Why did I have to lift it up? I literally woke up like I literally just lift my face mask off my face like 10 times, but 9 times in the astral realm, which is it's really real, right? Because it's your spirit, man. Your spirit is actually doing it, and you're completely 100% conscious, but your body is still asleep. So that it would make sense that it would, because I was hearing him say ones and tens in the meditation, it would make sense that I would have to do it 10 times to actually completely wake up. But yeah, so if you've been doing this, some of this stuff, it wouldn't sound like a bunch of blah 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 to you, right? So if you haven't been doing it, consider doing it. And I've been posting it in the description box of all the videos ever since we started, so you can go in and see what it's about. It's kind of like the lab portion to get your consciousness working, to help you start the process of developing it. It's a very safe program. I actually recommend it. I had to do a little bit checking into it just to make sure, because I want to make sure I wasn't gonna get demon possessed or nothing like that, right? So I search things out. So, but check it out. So if you haven't developed your consciousness, you don't know how to develop it on purpose, that is a really good way, right? And it's a great lab that we're doing simultaneously. That's something you do on your own time. So when we come back and we bring in all this information, we can increase the quality of our consciousness, and we can grow spiritually faster. Marche, I have not taken a leap yet. I'm inching there. Take your time. I'm new to all of this and still feeling my way, trying to free myself of fear. I feel you. You haven't been able to get past wave 2 yet. Oh, that's what my aunt said, Belinda Brown. Keep going. Yeah, what confirmed to you that it was safe? Actually going in there and testing it out. Like seriously. It first, well, not just testing it out first, but researching through a lot of material. Oh, also, if you go into the description, if people are still kind of, I don't know, I put his trilogy, the actual gentleman, Robert Monroe. Well, he's not the scientist guy. He is the guy who helped develop it. He has a trilogy that he wrote. Where this training program came out of, and it's so good that the government uses it, y'all. CIA, that's what the whole CIA document was about. They say this guy's a freaking genius. Like, they had already figured out some stuff, but because of his experiences and how he recorded it and how he got people from all over the world, scientists, to come in and double check, he went through psycho evaluations, all this stuff, to make sure he wasn't crazy. And they found a way to physically test these things that was happening with the physical body, the consciousness, all these different things. And they, over the years, they've been able to develop it into a program. And it's absolutely amazing. But before I actually fully, I mean, I started it the first couple, and then I paused, and then I realized he actually had books where he gave his literally his life story and the process of developing that program. I actually learned about him. We learned about him from the beginning of this book because he was one of the developers that helped him develop the program in his early days. He was one of the first scientists, him and Dennis. You'll hear about Dennis in the front of this book. Him and Dennis was the first two actual scientists who helped Mr. Monroe, who was a businessman who was having all of these out of body experiences and things happening to him. He was the one that helped him to develop it, and they pulled all this stuff together. So all the missing pieces he couldn't piece together, these guys helped him do it, right? They live and breathe science and the physical body. They know the body like some master magicians and master tradesmen know their skill. That's how well they are versed in the body and understanding it, the consciousness, all of those things. Yes, that definitely confirmed the safeness, right? Because I if you've been here long enough or you've seen some of my older videos, I grew up with a spirit of fear. I was scared of everything. And it's like, nope. And especially the indoctrination, not all the indoctrination, but a lot of indoctrination of the church, it further instills that fear, especially by naming everything the devil that we don't understand. So I was scared to check anything, right? That's been a ongoing process of my life to where Yah is working that fear out, which is probably why he led me to the area of searching out different things that were normally scary to me. It's like, this ain't scary. Come on, I'm gonna hold your hand. Let's go. You just need to go pick it up and look at it. There is no boogeyman at the door. Hey, son. So, yeah, Dana said, I'm stuck in wave two. Can't experience. Hold on. The thing is, okay. I'm stuck in wave two. Can't experience the light bars. I haven't astral projected yet. Probably need to go back to wave one until that happens. Maybe.
Hey, I'm gonna start
Look,
astral projecting.
Look,
Hey,
here
man,
you go.
man.
I was
man,
just telling
man.
them about what happened to you when you started using it.
I'm on the same page as you. I mean, when it's all said and done, hey, dap up, astral project. I'm just saying.
Doesn't it make your meditation more? It's like it enriches it.
Free now. I'm okay, man. Oh my gosh!
This is it. Come in here, son. This is somebody who just started it day before yesterday. Come here, say that again.
I have worried, bro. I ain't worried for you, but hey, now, don't y'all get too carried away, because your body, and when you think this ain't nothing, your body will drop. Like you tend to start not feel your body after a little bit, and then if you feel like you're sleeping, probably not sleeping. You're probably not sleeping.
Explain to them how you experience, because some of them they scared to take the leap of faith and jump right in. Right, I gave this to him a few weeks ago, and I was explaining to him about it. You know, he heard me talk about it. He was like, you know what, I'm gonna just go in. I'm gonna just go in here and try. But what was I about to say? Tell them how you were aware that you were like fully conscious, awake of everything around you, but your body was asleep.
It's like, it wasn't the sensation of sleep.
Come in.
It wasn't the sensation of sleep, but it's like, basically, y'all kids running around and they think you sleep, but you really awoke. It's like that type of situation, right? But you just can't feel your body. But your mind and stuff is going. It's like, I don't know. The best way I can compare this is to people that was in the hospital that was in the coma. But this time you can wake out of this one. You can actually wake out. You're not stuck there.
Yeah.
So, and if you think you stuck, just give it a little bit. You're gonna wake up.
Yeah. So he just started day before yesterday. But keep going, y'all. Maybe when you do it, You so sleepy.
Oh, also,
Azalea, go to sleep then, girl. Go to sleep. Come back and watch it later. But also that I'm glad you said I'm so sleepy. There's something I learned. Okay. So if you want to go in, remember the waves within there are 6 waves. And within each wave, there are 6 30-minute sessions, right? Now here's what I recommend. You can do it at night when you're going to sleep, but because I tested the difference, there's going to be an experience. So I think the when you do it at night, it's going to be a little more, let's say, exciting and eventful. And it's probably because your body is tired, and you're probably going to mix dream sleep and astral projection, and you might be kind of confused on which is which, right? So if you want to have I ain't gonna say a good session, it'll be good either way, but test it both ways like I did. um Try doing it during the day hours, but make sure that you are completely rested. Even if you're going to do it at night, you can do it. Some people, like my sister, she said, girl, I'd be so exhausted when she get off her 12-hour shifts. She said they start, and she said, I sleep all the way through. And she doesn't remember anything because the body is like tired, right? So you don't want to do it that way. But if you need to do it that way because your body is literally exhausted, then do it that way, because you will wake up refreshed. You really will. And it rests the body. Although you won't remember it, you will just get a different experience from it. But if you want to actually experience it, where you don't go into that REM sleep, although your body is put to sleep, where you won't go into that REM deep sleep, I would suggest that you make sure that you're already fully rested. Then set aside 30 minutes and go do it. And he recommends you doing it laying down, but you can do it sitting up. But test it all the different ways. Like I did one sitting up, I did one laying down. Well, I do most of them laying down, like he recommends it. But it really doesn't matter for real. But test it and see the results you get. You can play with it. Like he said, you can come out of it, right? You do it anyway, but now you're learning how to do it on purpose. So to operate your body on purpose, and it not operating like just by default and doing it, and you like catching your body doing it, right? Because the body is going to do it, the spirit is going to do it regardless, right? But if you get control over this, the car, you can sync your car with the with the actual engine, or your spirit. You can sync it. While the hemi sync is going here, the spirit and the flesh will sync, right? And you can properly put your body to sleep and rest it while your spirit explores and learns, right? Okay.
please continue to surrender to it and not be all.
Oh yeah, he said, please tell them they just need to relax and surrender to it. That probably sounds a little scary to some people, surrender to it, but just make sure you relax and just it's a safe training program. Like I said, if you don't trust me, if you don't, because I wouldn't tell y'all to do anything. I'm not gonna purposely give y'all something that's gonna harm you. Because before I tell you about it, I'm gonna go test it myself, and I don't like scary, right? So that's why before I even went a little bit further in the waves, when I found out Mr. Monroe had a trilogy, literally it kept me captivated. His 3-book trilogy, I got through in 4 days because it's on Audible. So I had it playing, and I was able to cut it off, but it was so good. And it's like experience after experience. What they did, he gives really deep details, and it's so good, right through all 3 books and the different states, which they've now labeled as different focus sections, like focus 10 and focus 27, and each of those focuses will describe what they experienced when they were there, right? So that's how they learned and understood that some people who actually die here and lose their physical body, a lot of them are still here. They're just on that next level, right? Things that we like know and is revealed to us spiritually, they were able to test and actually see, right? You got to read it. So if you need just a little bit more comfort, go listen or read this trilogy. Milo Paul, hola, shalom from, what is it, Cheetah, Illinois. What's the topic? Okay, we're talking about developing our consciousness. We're reading My Big Toe, right? We actually almost done with this, y'all. Look, we'll be done with this probably, I don't know, because I be talking so much. Possibly a week, maybe 2 weeks, and then we're gonna start the little meditation book, right? I mean, it's I hate that they call it Egyptology, right? Because it's kind of like it's a gatekeeper for especially people who are transitioning out the church and they don't like really understand. You know, yes, they're Egyptians, right? And they call it Egyptology because as Egyptians, this is what they practice, so they call it Egyptology. But what they practice are actually ways of life and living and how to develop the body and develop the mind, the spirit, and the consciousness, right? And how to wake up the body. They call it Egyptology, and some people are scared of that. But when we go through it, and especially like Per M. Haru, or they mislabel it Book of the Dead, but it's really the Book of Enlightenment or the Book of Coming Forth, how to literally train your body and wake it up so your spirit man can develop, how your spirit can lead your bodies. That's what's there. They put the Book of the Dead as a gatekeeper to keep you away from it. And you really should know it, right? Because the dead don't need instruction. It's the living that need it. And they put it in there. It's called the Book of Enlightenment, right? Yeah. Miss Amanda, she said your son, hold on, that your son has the information and is using it, that is enough for me, right? That's what I'm glad he came down here so he could he could share with you his experience. And he's 18. He just took the leap of faith, right? I told him a few weeks ago, but he hear me talking, he listens, he's like, I'm gonna need to test this out, especially because all of the supernatural things that happen to him, and he's able to hear the other realm as well, and the different experiences and the dreams and all that stuff he has. Is like he need to figure out what's going on and how to operate for real, because he kind of like operates by default like on a protective and trying to figure it out. Now he can develop it and learn it on purpose. What's happening to him, he like, I'm just gonna jump in, I'm just gonna do it. Stands for Chicago. I probably should know that, right? I live I lived there. Like, how long we lived at, Mom? Like 10 years? 10 years? I probably should have known that. I feel horrible. And my husband lived out all his life till we got married and we came back here. I was born here, but then moved there in middle school. Met my husband in middle school, and such begins my roller coaster of life. Joined the military, got stationed back here. That's when my husband came here, right? Okay. So I should have known that, Milo. All right. Let me finish this, y'all, because we're already at the hour mark. Okay. You will discover in chapter 30 of this book that the fundamental potential energy of consciousness, AO, eventually evolves into brilliant digital consciousness, as is dim awareness. I'm sorry, hold on, I said it wrong. You will discover in chapter 30 of this book that the fundamental potential energy of consciousness, AO, or who we call Yah, eventually evolves into brilliant digital consciousness as its dim awareness slowly brightens. Within digital consciousness, the creation of various dimensions is simply the creation of separate memory and processing subsets. For years, we have implemented partitioning in our commercial digital computers, as well as figured out how to multitask and multiprocess. We can easily, for example, run multiple simulations and multiple instances of the same simulation with differing initial conditions, perhaps simultaneously within our physical matter reality mainframes. Think of each simulation, think of each simultaneously running simulation as representing an independent reality within its own dimension, and you will have a glimmer of the concept of dimension within digital consciousness and within the larger reality. And I'm gonna end this after this little side, which is like two more sentences. Dimension refers to a well-defined processing subset within the big computer, a constrained thought space or region of related content processing within the larger consciousness. A particular dimension or reality may be thought of as a digital simulation of a virtual world running in its own memory space within the big computer. The concept of dimension will become clear as these ideas are developed in later chapters. Okay, so we're gonna pause. Oh, you know what? This one little paragraph was left. Let me just read it. I didn't realize, I thought it was like a whole nother page. Let me just read this last little paragraph. And then we're done with chapter 28. Now we must begin to contemplate things happening in sequence. There is an immense benefit to the organizational potential of a system if operations and content can be arranged in a specific order and I'm sorry, in a specific order and sequence. AO, in pursuit of profitability, needs to invent time, thereby inventing ordered process. Like sea creatures needing to invent lungs and legs in order to crawl out of the oceans to exploit the resources available on dry land, AO needs to invent time in order to exploit the increased order and organization, lower entropy that comes with ordered process. Time provides the indexing and sequencing scheme to support the next higher level of organization, awareness, and complexity within consciousness. So it's like us living here in time, being able to astral project or have out of body experiences into the realm where there is no time will help us to develop our consciousness, right? There has to be some type of duality or something, because if things just go straight without any kind of interaction from anywhere, it's just going to continue to go straight. There's going to be no growth, no fluctuation or anything, right? So that's what it's saying. Time provides the indexing and sequencing scheme to support the next higher level of organization, awareness, and complexity within consciousness. With the possibility of indexing and sequencing interactive content, dynamics, time order causality is born. The application of time to digital content causes the number of explorable possibilities available for the fundamental process to explode expo hold on expo hold on exponentially exponentially. Okay. The application of time to digital content causes the number of explorable possibilities available for the fundamental process to explode exponentially into a creative interaction, cause, and effect. Time is a digital technology that enables consciousness to organize its content, thoughts more effectively. Improved organization implies reduced entropy and greater profitability for the system. The evolution of mind is about to shift into high gear as the potential of aware consciousness takes another great leap into the unknown. And who was that? Hold on. My shade, that's for you. The evolution of mind is about to shift into high gear as the potential of aware consciousness takes another great leap into the unknown. And that is the end of this chapter. So this was really good, right? It was a short chapter. So tomorrow we will talk about the evolution of AO, the birth of time. So the more we understand that we get in this book, we kind of understand why Yah, the creator, decided to take our spirits and trap them inside these bodies in this earth school we're at, right? Everything we need to develop and grow our spirits, because although your spirits are, let's say, perfect. Now that I understand, well, okay, your spirit definitely has to be developed. It's perfect in a way. Um, but your spirit can also be influenced as well, right? So depending on what type of situations you experience here in this world with your vehicle or your body will determine how your spirit grows. It'll either grow lighter in brightness and evolve in consciousness, or it'll grow dimmer and it'll fall down to the pits of hell, if you want to say that, right? You'll have a really dark spirit and your energy will be dark, right? So your spirit can be influenced. um but everything is coming together. It's making sense on how we can develop spiritually, right? So we're really like spiritual babies. But as we begin to understand the process and actually get a little bit of lab time after we learn, the whole gateway process is like the lab time, right? I live for the lab part of science class because I was sick of listening to the teacher. Let's just get into lab because not really that I wanted to test things out, but I could eat my snacks. I was a terrible student actually going through school. I really was. I could have been so much better. But now that I'm a little bit older and I can see the process of growth of how much further I could be if I had actually paid attention back then, because there are some things that actually train your spirit. Even when you're in public school, no matter where you're at, where you go, you got different training programs all through life. But all of them, although you may be training your physical body, you're actually training your spirit along the way. And there will be principles that you can glean from the time you came into this world up until the current time. And as you progress, you should, as you grow, you should be able to look back and clearly see the principles and how they were operating in your life, right? So there should become a time where the things that used to be fuzzy are really crystal clear, and you can grab those principles and you can use them. You can begin to use them on purpose. Okay, so up until this point, I've learned about this principle, this the principle of cause and effect, all these things, right? Okay, now this, as you get older, just like you're expected to do in school, you're expected to work through problems. You get a little bit more difficult problems as you progress in math and whatever it is. You should take all that you've learned and apply it to this particular equation. Okay, how do I work through this? Life is the same way. Growing spiritually is the same way, right? Learning about spiritual things, the dark magic, white magic, demons, angels, all these things that you learn about, you're adding to the knowledge for you to work out this equation of spiritual growth. But if you're scared to look at the information, you're going to stunt your growth, right? And you're going to have to keep repeating grades. And it ain't going to look the same, right? It ain't going to look the same. You're going to get different tests. It would be no fun. In the unseen realm, the creator would be an unfair teacher if he allowed the same test to persist through time, because you got some cheaters, right? And they're gonna pull the answers from somebody and they're gonna cheat their way through, which is why you experience when you don't learn a lesson, you're gonna experience again, but it's gonna look a little bit different. It's gonna be with a different situation, but it's the same principle that Yah is trying to teach you. And if you don't get that, you're gonna keep repeating cycles. You're gonna keep repeating cycles in your life. It seems like, man, you don't seem to be getting this particular lesson, right? It's the same thing when you see it. You can see it everywhere in everything, whether it be spiritual, physical, in men and women and animals, in a plant kingdom, in the marine kingdom. You can see the principles operating everywhere at all times and on different levels, right? And that's how spiritual growth works. You should be able to grow and cut out all the crying and throwing fits and stuff that babies do when you don't understand. Sometimes the parents are giving to your little whims and your cries and your whimpers because you may not be able to talk fluently yet, but we know you want the cookie, right? So we may just give you, sometimes you'll be crying for the cookie, even though we may have told you no, it might spoil your dinner. Sometimes what the heck? It's still early in the day. Eat the cookie. It ain't gonna kill them. Plus, it'll get you quiet for a while, right? But they ain't gonna work all the time. And don't expect your parents to keep doing that, keep pacifying you, right? Because you don't necessarily have the concept or understand time that I'm cooking dinner and it's almost done. Like children, they just don't care. I would be in here cooking and literally almost done, and they'll come in here, Mom, I'm hungry. I'm like, if you don't get out of here, you see me in here cooking. Don't come in here and do like that. That pisses me off. And it's like, I'm like, don't you see me cooking? It's like they have no concept for time. As far as them, they're hungry now. They're ready to eat now, and you're cooking. The food is not done. It's nothing that they can take and eat now. They're hungry now, right? So sometimes I may eat that or get a piece of fruit or something, right? Because they still don't really understand that. But the older ones that come out, it's like, if you don't get your tail out this kitchen and wait till I'm done cooking, I'll do that. It's like, somebody, don't you come, put it back. I'm done. Don't come in here eating my ingredients and my half cooked meal. I may have some sides done, but I'm still cooking it. Don't come do that, right? You wait. Show some discipline. Exercise some discipline. You're old enough for it. Same things happen in the spiritual realm. Same exact thing happens in the spiritual realm. Sometimes people they'll throw fits because it seemed like some people, well, they always get stuff, but you know what, you're a little bit older spiritually, you should be acting as such, you're a little bit older, so no, I'm just not going to give you everything when you ask. That you can get on your own, right? They don't necessarily know how to do that yet, so I'm gonna throw them a freaking bone. Other ones of us, we just throw fits and then we think the devil attacking us. No, you're being lazy. You're not doing and using your own tools to get this done. And that's what that as I grow, I realize that's what the creator requires. That's what we've been learning about in developing your consciousness and my big toe and things that people not getting. It's within your own reach, right? Especially you've been around the bend quite a few times. Like some you just sit down and think about what's happening, right? You probably just got too much going on when you can't focus, right? Focus. All right, y'all. Marcia, yes, work it out and don't repeat grades. Right. That is the most frustrating thing, having to repeat the same lessons or the same grades over and over and over again. Right. I failed one time. I failed the 8th grade. But to my, I say, I don't know. I ain't gonna even say to my to my anything. We just happen to be transitioning states when my dad's job moved him from here. He was an engineer here. Uh, it closed down here, and they had to pick like a couple other places. And we went to Illinois, Kankakee. He chose that place. But the last year here, I failed the last year. But when we went there, and I was asking him, I was like, "You gonna tell him I failed?" Pam, we got to show him the paperwork. I'm like, I don't want to go to 7th grade again, right? So but when we got in there and it was registering me for school, they said, you know what, we're just gonna put you in your right grade. So when they failed me here in Virginia, they just put me in the 8th grade. They put me in my right grade, right? So I was so grateful for that. You know, I think everything is divinely orchestrated, right? Because what's crazy is my husband actually failed 7th grade as well. Um, he was it? I think it was 7th grade. He failed 7th grade. Something happened. Anyway, he failed a grade, but we end up meeting in 8th grade at the same time. That's how we met. So I met my husband in middle school in 8th grade. So if the whole unseen realm orchestrated us to meet at that point in time. Hence, we have this big family now, high school sweethearts, all that great stuff, right? So things work out for you, you know, but you got to be moving along the way. Them early years where we don't quite know things, unseen forces are working things out to get us where we need to be till we come to a point of understanding, right? So at this point, a lot of us should be at least certain points of understanding where we realize we have a hand in our own spiritual growth, and everything is not just going to be showered down on us from the Father just because we just keep his commands, right? It's good to keep the commands, right? But you still need to be grown. You can't just keep the commands and just be like, okay, drop it on me. Okay. But what are you doing? You ain't even gonna understand it. If I did drop it on you, go on and get out there and do something, just like he told Moses. He told Joshua too. But why is you here crying out to me? Get the people up, get them moving, right? Have them do something. Not just y'all sitting here on your face crying. No, the enemy is coming. Get y'all butts up. Do something, right? We seem to miss those little lessons all the way through for the sake of holiness and God taking care of everything for us. We got a part to play. We really do. So, all right, y'all. That's it for today. I hope y'all enjoyed the reading for today. It is Monday, March the 14th, 2022, day 55 of year 4 of reading through the books of the Law and the Prophet. And of the 4-year consecutive day count, day 1072, we read tablet M.1 in the complete Annunaki Bible. And we read all of chapter 28 in my big toe. Also, today, although I have it in the description box, I'll pin in the comment section again. I'll post it in Facebook and I'll pin it to the top in today's video. The Gateway Process Program, also the 3 books by Mr. Monroe. That if you think you need to listen to that just to help you a little bit more, it's there. It's really good. I recommend it if you're going through the Gateway process. It's really good. It will add tremendously to your learning. I would say that's kind of like the 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 teaching part of class, and the gateway process is the lab part. Okay, now let's get into the lab. Right, you'll get so much more out of it. I mean, you get a lot of it from what we did too, by reading the CIA document, listening to what the government said about it and how they use it as a training program. And then now they use it for nefarious reasons, right? They use it to steal information from other governments. They literally put soldiers through this program, the gateway process, right? They put the listen, some of us been on wave one for like a few weeks. They take those soldiers and they put them, remember, it's 6 waves. They put them through the entire program in a week. They do a wave a day. Think about how we're developing and we can't get past certain waves trying to process everything, right? They're cramming. And that's the style of the military. They condense your learning in everything. I know I'm prior military. And so what would take like 6 weeks to go through, maybe like a wave a week or however you moving, they took that and condensed it to a wave a day. And then they after they went through the gateway process, they began to train them, and then they began to test them, using them, having to tap into their ability and what they learned to actually infiltrate the enemy, steal trade secrets from other countries. Like, this is a real thing. They use them to do this, but because these men and women didn't have the time to go through it like we do, they just think it's a weapon. And the and some of them, they didn't end up well because they didn't really understand what was happening to them. I mean, they understood to a certain level, but the government then took that and used that as a weapon against other people, and they were being used as weapons instead of allowing this growth process in their consciousness to develop holistically over a period of time. That's how spiritual growth happens. We get an entire lifetime to learn it because you need time to process seed, time, harvest. And during this time period, some things you may have to repeat, go back, you have to assimilate. The light has to come on in order for you to truly operate in it and understand what you're doing while you're operating in it. That takes time. It takes time. And what they did with them is so unfair. And a lot of them guys couldn't handle it. And some of them actually end up taking their life because they didn't know what was happening. They got all this spiritual activity going on. And once the military was done with them and they discharged them, they like discarded them like they were trash. And that was really heartbreaking reading about that. I'm like, that is horrible. I wish they would have known, or at least went to go look into Mr. Monroe to actually iron out a lot of the stuff that the military didn't do with them. Now, I'm not saying the military shouldn't have done, because you learn everything about your enemy. Learn about your enemy. If you're gonna use the astral projecting, use it, but don't treat the people like trash that you're using to help you win a war or gain the upper hand. At least make sure they're taken care of. Actually teach them about their bodies that you know about, that they're ignorant. Young kids coming in there, they don't know. First of all, your body was created this way. You have a spirit. They just took you and used you as a weapon, right? And the more bodies they got, they can go in and infiltrate in the astral realm and pull things back and bring it back here and put it to use, right? That's how our country got a lot of stuff it shouldn't have. That's how some people who got ideas who were stolen from them from other communities, they steal their ideas. Think about the woman, we mentioned it before, the woman who invented the Matrix. That was her idea. It was a black woman. She won that lawsuit, but she was in court, had to spend her own money to fight against the big dogs with the money to prove that that was her idea. Now, how did they get this idea from this little old black lady who lived in what we would call the ghetto? How did they get that from her? Right? How did they get a lot of this stuff from people? Not just black people talking about race, but they steal stuff from people all over. They steal secrets from China, Russia, all these different places. They do this all the time, right? Now, because they know what we are and what we're capable of, right? And they take it and they play on it. And you got to be careful because they know that. That's why they are so good at like suggesting things subtly through commercials, all of these VR headsets, virtual reality. I'm telling y'all better learn how to operate your own consciousness first before y'all start getting entangled into virtual reality. Because when you get entangled in virtual reality and you don't know that you are a spirit that just has up you outfitted in a body, you can get all twisted and screwed up, right? You're not going to be able to tell what's real and what's fake, because the spiritual realm is more real than this natural realm. It really is. If you get this training going through virtual reality first before you learn how to develop it holistically, you're going to be all kinds of screwed up. That's how you got young kids, this depression that's rampant with social media, all of it. They're using all of this. How we were created, they're using it against you, right? And they know how to do it in slow drips. Slow drips. Y'all really have to be mindful. This is something, if you didn't learn anything else, you need to learn about your spirit and how to develop your own consciousness and not let other people do it for you, right? So that's all I got to say. Where did you read or hear his story again? I learned about Mr. Monroe through Thomas Campbell. Reading, okay. I learned about Thomas Campbell. I've never heard of Thomas Campbell, but I was learning about in my shucks. This is last year. What was I looking up? I was looking up something spiritual about the spirit because I was trying to figure out how, like, some of the things that I experienced. I'm just typing in stuff and I'm doing different searches. You know how you're looking for something? Okay, let me reword that. This because you're looking for something, but you don't quite know exactly what you're looking for because nobody's you haven't heard anybody say it, but you know you're looking for something. Maybe you experienced something, you just don't know how to put it into words yet. I was having one of those moments about consciousness and what had just happened to me, and okay, this is happening, but it's not like a bad thing because it always seems to help me, and I'm just trying to figure this out. And I forget what video I was watching on a consciousness and developing the mind. Probably some health video. It was some health video on the brain. And somebody was down in the comment section because I'll pull up the video, then I'll always search through the comments for nuggets of truth because some people be leaving some jewels in the comment section. They really do. And that's what I was searching for. And the title, what he said, you guys need to check into the book trilogy, My Big Toe. And the title caught my, and I was like, My Big Toe? I'm like, how does My Big Toe have to do anything with what he's talking about? But it was a catchy phrase. And so I looked it up, and then I went to Amazon and I read the outline of the book and everything. I was like, oh, this seems interesting. And then I was like, oh, let me see if they got it on Audible. Let me see what he kind of talking about. And it was the first couple chapters. I downloaded it. And the first couple chapters is what really caught me because he started out with a few of his experiences on supernatural things that happened to him. I'm like, wait a minute, he might be getting into what I'm looking for. And that's how I found out about Thomas Campbell and My Big Toe. And first I thought it was he said it was a trilogy, but I had first got this and I had listened to all of this and I was like, well, let me go ahead and download the other two books because this was so good. So I downloaded that, but reading through this a second time or listening to it a second time, you know how you listen to things, but then you catch things you didn't catch at first when you go through it again. And so this time, when he started talking about Mr. Monroe in the second time I listened to it, I was like, he talking about this Mr. Monroe guy. Let me look him up because maybe he might have some stuff out here on the internet. And that's how I heard about Robert Monroe through him. And I started looking up, and they got Robert Monroe has a whole school institute on this, on how to develop the consciousness. I shared the language. I'm just like, yo, it's just like little clues. It's little clues left for you down the rabbit trail that if you recognize it, sometimes you may not recognize it, but at least if you check it out, you can see if it's of value or not and how you can take it and use it and add it to your spiritual growth and your learning. So yeah, she said, hold on. She said, right. She said her pineal was activated like the Indians do it. She was hit with a rock in the center of her head as a little girl, and she had visions to access the Akashic records, etc. That's interesting, right? Because I think my pineal gland has been activated for a while, right? But I think it was like energized a couple weeks ago. Remember, I tell y'all that you may not have been here, but you may have saw the video where I talked about it. where this being full of light, excuse me, actually touched me right there at the center of my forehead. Excuse me. And I was completely conscious. I was completely conscious, but I was in the meditation state. I was going through one of the waves, and I felt my body go to sleep. I was asleep and I was out of my body. And this huge being of light, which looked like a bigger, more beautiful version of me. Right? It was like three of me in that room. Like I said, it was like one of me. My actual flesh body was laying on the bed, but it was asleep. And it was my astral body, which just my spirit just popped out of my body. And there was this huge, beautiful light being, beautiful representation of me. And I took my hand, the bigger, beautiful version of me, took my hand and touched me right here on my forehead, right, representing pineal gland, right there, third eye. And when it did that, I began to feel this energy flow through my body, and this warm sensation started at my feet, and it began to go all the way up. And then when it began to go up, it was like my whole body began to fill with this energy. And it was like my whole body began to light up, and it was like I was filled with light. And when it got up to my head right here, it was like the light began to explode out of my body. Now it was like I became a being of light, and I was radiating in all directions. And when the light filled up all the way to the top of my head, it was like everything that I saw for miles was nothing but brightness and light, right? And it scared me, but it didn't scare me. But then I didn't go too much further. Like I was fully aware. I could feel the sensation. Like I could feel it. Like my body was woke, but I could tell my body was asleep. But I was completely conscious of what was going on, what was happening. I could feel it, right? And then I didn't know what was going to happen next, so I just went back into my body and woke up. I'm like, what was that? Right? So I think that was a re-energizing of my pineal gland, right? But since then, like the different things that's been happening, the things that I'm understanding, I'm like, yo, this is amazing. So just keeping my little notes and stuff and just walking through the process. It's a daily growth thing. Everybody's experience will be a little different. I think it was Dana that said she saw a being of light. Different people experiencing different things, but it's developing you where you're currently at, right? So wherever you at, everybody's not going to have the same experience. But if we come together and tell our experiences, we will see the similar underlying growth patterns, although the situation was different. We can still pull the same principles out, and that's the things that we'll learn to recognize. Marche said, "That's amazing. What's funny is my husband had a dream about me weeks ago before I found your channel that I walked past myself. I saw myself and screamed. Laugh out loud. I wasn't exactly sure what it meant." That's funny. Okay. All right, beautiful people. That's it. Okay, so the kiddos are waking up and we had 2 hours. Okay. I hope y'all. I hope y'all ain't had to go to work. Y'all still here listening to me, or maybe you just on a different time zone than I am, and you ain't got to go to work yet. Whatever it is you're supposed to be doing. If you're supposed to be working for somebody else, don't be stealing time. Remember, I'm recorded. Come back and watch me later, right? Don't have me getting y'all in trouble. You're supposed to be paying attention and working. Unless you work for yourself, then you can create your own schedule. Trina, I remember what you said when you heard me say that. She said, "I'm tired of working for Caesar." May y'all bless the work of your hands and Robert's hands that y'all can create your own business. Y'all already got an idea, roll with it, right? Be diligent. Be diligent with it. You will see progress. All right, beautiful people. That's it. I love y'all. Thank you, Father, for teaching us and leading us and guiding us into all truth. Thank you that we have patience to actually see the process through and not to leave class early. All right, y'all. What time? Oh, okay. You on Central Time. Oh, that's why you've been having trouble trying to catch us. We start during the week, Monday through Friday. It's 7:15 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm in Virginia, Eastern Time. So put it in Google or calculate Central. I think Central Time. I think you like an hour behind me. I think. I don't know. Don't quote me because I don't know. Yes, babe.
Where you gotta go?
Where do I have to go? Where you going to the dentist today? But that's no. You got to go to the dentist today. That's the and karate. The dentist and karate today. All right, y'all.
And soccer.
No, not soccer. All right, y'all. So that's it. Yeah, and on Monday through Friday, 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and on the weekends, 7:30. If it's the Sabbath, the moon cycle, the day for the Sabbath, remember the Sabbath falls on the day that we spot the new moon. So if the new moon is spotted and declared on a Wednesday, the Sabbath for that moon cycle is Wednesday, right? So whatever new moon day, it's the Sabbath for that moon cycle. New moon come on Thursday, the moon cycle Sabbath is Thursday. If it fall on Saturday, then it's Saturday. It rotates, remember? Okay. All right, y'all. You're welcome. You're welcome, Milo. Thank you and good info. Yeshua is King and He is coming back. Hallelujah. May Heavenly Father bless you. Hallelujah. Trina said, yes, baby girl. Yes. Huh?
I'm gonna end the video.
You want me to end the video?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm about to. Trina said, so tired of working for Caesar. Yes, have a y'allsome day. All right, beautiful people. I love y'all. I see y'all back here tomorrow morning, 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace. You're welcome. You're welcome. Peace and good day, Marche. Everybody. Bye, y'all. Oh, I'm going to post in the comment section the link for the gateway process, as well as the links where you can download, if you want to listen to it, the trilogy from Mr. Monroe, where he's given all the details about his personal experience while he was having out of body experiences. All right, so give me a couple minutes. I'm going to get that posted. I'm going to pin it and I'm going to repost it in the community section as well. All right, y'all. Peace. Thank you, Milo. Shalom, everybody.